What's up, team? As you know, this is that streaming consciousness, man. This is what I'm working on today. This is another one of those beautiful days where my Heavenly Father woke me up at 3 a.m. and told me it was time to get after it. So got up, got praying, and got in the Word, started spending time with the Father. And it's been so worth it, you know. If He wakes you up, get up. There's nothing more worth it than that. The level of revelation that He's shown, the things He's shown me this morning have been awesome, you know. I think there's, you know, if I was running my life on my own wisdom, it would be different. If I was trusting in myself to figure out how to find a way to get it all done and where to go, I think it would be different. But since I was a child, this is how I've run my life. This is how I've arrived here. And so I share these things with you guys to hopefully inspire you to think that there's something more to life than just the physical, right? You gotta remember, you know, like I was in the Marine Corps with a bunch of hard dudes, harder than you. Yep, a bunch of dudes harder than you, harder than me, you know, a lot of dudes, you know, and the reality is a lot of us didn't make it. So, not that we didn't make it in war, but like after life started, and a lot of us, you know, committed suicide and different things like this. So, I carried that, and I know there were a lot of men trying to figure their lives out, and there's no one there, you know what I'm saying? They're over here in this darkness like you see me right now. You know, and they're trying to, and it's all on them. You know, it's all on you, homie. You can talk to your wife about it if you want. She'll probably just be stressed out, and then you'll have to deal with a stressed out wife while you fight copious amounts of dragons. You know, and the question is just, where do you get strength? Where do you find rest? You know, where do you get the wisdom to know what to do? Here's a good question. Where does a man find help? Right? Where does a man find help? We know from the Bible that the wife was designed and made with the express purpose of being a helper, a helpmate, right? So, you know, there's a consideration, right? That if she's healthy, she could be a helpmate, but in normal society, what are we really dealing with? We're dealing with layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of conditioning, to the point where so many of us don't even realize how we've been programmed or that we've been programmed, right? So, you know, is she going to be able to live the model of the biblical model of a wife, right? Who is supportive and submissive and actually treats you like the Lord, right? This is highly improbable, right? And are you going to be able to execute on the biblical mission of a husband to protect and provide and treat her the way Christ is treating you, because you are the bride of Christ, and the way that Christ treats the church, right? That's to be determined based on your actions, homie, right? So this is the art, this is the discipline. If you want to unlock everything that He has for you, you've got to figure out how to do these things. And so where does a man get help? Like, where do you find your father? You know, your earthly father, yes, he may or may not be there, probably not because of society, right? So, you know, God bless him, but what's the reality? He's doing the best he can, you know? And so, far be it from me to just talk to you about like executive protection or freaking guns when, you know, I have something that's so much more valuable. And that's walking in this way. So I will still talk about that stuff, but that's not why I'm up at 3 a.m. and praying and guiding and sculpting and trying to get my life to go the way that I believe it should go by the grace of God. You know, I have and you have real problems that need real solutions. There are probably areas of your life that need a real God, that really need a miracle. And where and how are you going to find that? And that's going to come through proximity. That's going to come through submission, that's going to come through discipline, and ultimately the higher levels are going to come through sacrifice, right? And so God's got a life for you, a plan for you, all these things. I know it because I'm living it. I'm not this good, you guys. I shouldn't be up here. My journey, you can hear in millions of different podcasts, is just a journey of the grace of God. And it's what one imperfect man can do by God's grace if he just submits his imperfection on the altar of progress repeatedly and does his best. That's what the game is. But the reason many are called but few are chosen is because you have a vision in your heart, you have a dream, you have things that you believe God's called you to do. But the reason few are chosen to actually execute on those things is because few are willing to do what is necessary to actually run the race well, right? Like if God woke you up at 3 a.m., would you know it was him? Would you know it was his voice, right? Would you, and then the second question obviously is, would you get up? Would you get up, right? There are a few things more important than in your life. There are a few things more powerful in your life than learning to cultivate your meeting place with your Heavenly Father, right? So you can be as jacked and tan as you want, you'll still probably eat your freaking handgun one day. That's what I've learned. You can be as jacked and tan as you want, you'll still probably shoot yourself in the face, OD, ruin your marriage, and have your daughter turn out to be a stripper. You can be as jacked and tan as you want, and you'll probably still and have all the girls and have all the money, and you'll probably still at some point OD on something because you're just chasing happy. I don't know. I don't know. I spent almost the last decade and a half around people that have all the freaking money in the world, and I've served with some of the most legitimate warriors our planet has seen, and I'm just saying, I've just watched it for so long. I can't just sit here and tell you like, yeah, yo, good job, you know what I'm saying? There's more to this game. If you're just physically developed and you're not developed and mature in spirit, soul, and body, you're still not a fully formed man. You're not going to be very useful to everyone. You might be strong enough to physically protect them, but your emotionalism will be a massive vulnerability that will be exploited by this reality, right? And your level of spiritual maturity and competence will cause you not to be able to serve people the way they're going to need to be served, protect them the way they're going to need to be protected when the spiritual warfare kicks up. If you do anything significant, you get into spiritual warfare when they get attacked by the very real adversary that's here to kill, steal, and destroy. This is the game, man. You know what I'm saying? But how do you get there? Cultivate that quiet place. Cultivate that meeting place with God. Read his word so you understand his character, his nature, right? I get woken up at 3 a.m. in the morning because I feel something in my spirit, right? So when you get connected to your spirit, man, it's a whole nother way of seeing life. It's a whole nother form of information. It's a whole nother way of navigating. I get woken up at 3 a.m. because I feel something in my spirit. I walk in my bathroom. I turn on my phone to go to one of my pastors I listen to, Ron Carpenter. Ron Carpenter's teaching a message about what to do when you get woken up at 3 a.m. in the morning. All right, right there I already know. I'm on the right track. I heard the right voice. I was supposed to, 300, right? And it's been happening off and on for weeks. 300. Now, I know that something's going on. Ron Carpenter's preaching a message on what to do. Just maybe it was the algorithm, guys. Maybe it's just by chance it's the algorithm. So I get woken up at 3 a.m. 300, and then my like favorite pastor pops up on my YouTube with a message what to do if you get woken up at 3 a.m. 300. Then he starts telling a story. This is happening in my normal life. This is a week in the life of Byron. This is why I talk to you guys about spiritual things, and you guys all think I'm crazy, but like, I'm just gonna welcome you into my world for 2 seconds. So then I'm standing here at like it's like 3:05 now. I'm listening to Ron Carpenter talk to me about what to do when you wake up at 3 a.m. just by chance, okay, for all you guys that just don't believe in providence. And then in that message, Pastor Ron Carpenter says, so I've been getting woken up at 3 a.m. and I was worried that I was going back into insomnia because I struggled with that and it was terrible. And he's like, I was so worried. He's then my wife Hope says, hey, maybe this is God trying to talk to you. And he goes, so I go and turn on my phone and there's a video from Miles Monroe that had been posted years earlier about what to do when you wake up at 3 a.m. So we're now 3 levels deep of confirmation of what to do when you wake up at 3 a.m. and when God wakes you up at 3 a.m. in the morning and what it's really about. So, just chance, just happenstance, maybe, homie. But for me personally, that's too much confidence. When you're a spiritual person and you understand how spiritual things work, that's too much confirmation. I know I'm listening to the right voice. I'm doing what I'm listening. And then he goes on to talk about how this is a time when spiritual warfare is at its peak, and you need to step into spiritual warfare, declare things over your life, fight witchcraft, and attack demonic forces, principalities, and things that are going on in the heavenlies at this time, right? So then God continues waking me up. 3:00 on the dot. It's never happened to me before in my life. Remember, I wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. Okay, I'm a 4 a.m. guy. You know, and actually, real talk. Before this, the week before this, God said you need to wake up at 3 a.m. I didn't think it was God. I was like, yo, Father, like, hey. I was like, listen, guys. I was like, Father, can you guys see me a little better here? I was like, Father, listen. I already do 4, man. I was being a little punk. I was like, I already do 4. Can we just keep it at 4, bro? Like, I'm pretty good. How many of your kids wake up at 4, bro? You know, Father. And he was like, okay. And then started waking me up at 3. I don't know. I've never had it happen. So I'm just saying, many are called, but few are chosen. If you want to go higher, you need to figure out how you can give a greater sacrifice. How you can kill more of yourself and your flesh. This is the way that you elevate. Everything in the spirit realm has a price. And the number one cost of things is actually the highest currency is blood. So the people that are unspiritual, they're probably like, what, bro? I'm like, yeah, well, the price that was paid for your salvation. And all the Christians are like, no, nothing costs anything. Jesus doesn't want you to do anything. He's just we won the lottery. Well, your salvation was bought at a price, and that price was blood. You're going to heaven if you grab that, right? If you own that, if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord, right? But what you do on this planet, how far you get, whether you hear well done thy good and faithful servant, because you are a good steward with your talents, what you're able to do for the kingdom of heaven. This is an invasion, don't forget it, right? Here on this, the kingdom of heaven is here. It's in me and you. The earth is a place, it's the battlefield. The world is a system. The system of the world is in direct opposition and battling to dominate this planet Earth. And we are the invasion. We are the kingdom of heaven. And we need to infiltrate. That's the game. We need to take territory. When you begin taking territory, you'll find opposition because you have to take that territory from someone. And so what I've done effectively in the last year or so is I started talking about Jesus on my platform. And now I've moved up a level, and now it's time to fight different things in the spirit. And so this is a deepening of that. But what I'm saying to you is that if you're a Christian and you're asking God to use you, pay attention to what it is you don't want to sacrifice. Pay attention to what God may be asking you to sacrifice, because that's the path. That's the path to being chosen. Many are called. Everyone's called. Everyone has something dream on the inside of them. God's put a dream, a destiny on the inside of you. Few are chosen to execute on it and to win. Because very few would get out of bed if God woke them up at 3 a.m. Very few would even recognize the voice. Very few would prioritize that over sleep, especially when they already been waking up at 4 a.m. Very few. And when you start to operate at this level, this is when...
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God.